6 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan, the news read by Miriam Khan. First, the headlines. The nation is celebrating the Eid al-Fitr today with the religious zeal and fervor. Congratulating the nation on the Eid al-Fitr, the Prime Minister has called for standing united to overcome the economic challenges. Army Chief says the voluntary cut in a defense budget in the next financial year shall not impact our response to all types of threats. In occupied Kashmir, Indian troops resorted to use the brute forces against the protesters during Eid prayers today. In Egypt, 8 security personnel have been killed in fighting with the terrorists in Sinai. In the ICC World Cup, South Africa are batting against India at Southampton. And now the news in detail. Eid al-Fitr is being celebrated across the country with the religious zeal and fervor. Big Eid congregations were held today at open places, mosque and Eidgah in all major cities, towns across the country. The ulama in their sermons highlighted the significance and philosophy of Eid al-Fitr. Special prayers were offered for the progress and prosperity of the country and the welfare of Muslim Ummah. Prayers were also offered for early liberation of occupied Muslim territories, including Kashmir and Palestine. Stringent security arrangements were in place across the country on the occasion to avoid any untoward incident. Prime Minister Imran Khan has urged the nation to stand united to overcome the economic challenges while putting the least burden on the poorer section of the society. In a tweet today, he felicitated the entire nation on Eid al-Fitr. The Prime Minister also congratulated Minister for Power Umar Ayub and the Secretary Irfan Ali for launching a campaign against the electricity thieves and working towards removing bottlenecks in the power transmission. He said this allowed Pakistanis in the luxury of having the first load-shedding-free Ramadan. Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa spent Eid with the troops along the line of control. The Army Chief offered Eid prayer with the troops on the front line. Special prayers were made for the peace and progress and prosperity of Pakistan. Talking to the troops, the Army Chief Staff said that the best Eid for the soldier is to have the pride of being on duty and defending the motherland even on such festive days away from family. The Army Chief said the voluntary decisions to forego the routine increase in annual defense budget is not a favor of the nation as we are one thick and thin. General Qamar Javed Bajwa said, irrespective to the voluntary cut in the defense budget in the coming fiscal year, they said that there should not be any impact on our response potential to all types of threats and quality of life of soldiers. He said the decision to avail no rise of their salaries and also only for the officers and not for the soldiers. He said we will manage the shortfall during the financial year by tightening our belt. Air Chief Mujahid Anwar Khan visited an operational airbase to celebrate Eid al-Fitr with the PF personnel deployed there. Special prayers were offered for the security and progress of the country during the Eid congregation. Later, the Air Chief exchanged the Eid greetings with the air and ground crew. Speaking at the occasion, he said, by the grace of Allah Almighty, PAF personnel exhibited a strong commitment and unmatched valor during the recent conflict with the adversary. Naval Chief Admiral Zafar Mahmood Abbasi says the Pakistan Navy is always ready to defend and protect the maritime frontiers of the country. He gave the remarks during a visit to the Navy warship in an open sea today. The Naval Chief exchanged Eid greetings with the officers and jawans of Pakistan Navy and appreciated their high morale. He said officers and jawans observing this festive occasion away from their families is a source of pride for the nation. Admiral Zafar Mahmood Abbasi said it has been our traditional to give the preference to the noble task of defending the homeland over the personal joys. Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee General Zubair Mahmood Hayat and Air Chief Mujahid Anwar Khan called on President Arif Alvi in Islamabad today and exchanged Eid greetings. On the occasion, the President wished happy Eid to the defenders of the border. He lauded the sacrifice of armed forces in the war on terrorism. Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan Ajay Bisaria called on President Arif Alvi in Islamabad today and felicitated him on Eid al-Fitr. The president also sent a felicitation message through the Indian High Commissioner on the re-elections of the Narendra Modi as the Indian Prime Minister. The president hopes his election will prove the beneficial for peace, stability, economic development, and welfare of the people in the region. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. Advisor to Prime Minister on Finance Dr. Abdul Hafiz Sheikh has appreciated the leadership of armed forces for limiting their budget. In a tweet, he said move will contribute towards the government's drive of managing expenditures, reducing fiscal deficit, and achieving economic stability. He said all of us have to play our role in meeting our national goals. In occupied Kashmir, Indian troops used the brute forces on protesters during Eid prayers in Srinagar, Islamabad, Kupwara, and Baramulla district today. Immediately after Eid prayers today, people in a large number took to the street carrying flags of Pakistan and Azad Kashmir and shouted high-pitched slogans like Jeeve Jeeve Pakistan and We Want Freedom in Srinagar, Islamabad, Shopaiya, Pulwama, Sopore, Pullaran, Kupwara, Kishtor, and other parts of the occupied territory. Pakistani flag were hosted in Srinagar and Kishtwar and other areas of the territory. The authorities imposed the restrictions in Nohata and other areas of downtown Srinagar. Meanwhile, Indian troops in their unabated act of state terrorism martyred 34 Kashmiri during the holy month of Ramadan. According to the data issued by the research section of the Kashmir Media Service today, of those martyred, 3 were killed in custody. During the month, 497 people were critically injured due to the firing of pellets, bullets, and tear gas shells by the Indian Army, paramilitary, and the police personnel on peaceful demonstrators on the occupied territory, while 137 civilians, including women, were arrested. The troops molested 5 women and damaged and ransacked 39 houses in 303 cordon in search operation during the month of Ramadan. In India, authorities say the recovery of the bodies of the group of climbers killed in avalanche in the Himalaya will take at least 10 days. The recovery mission began early today, but they halted after encountering the technical problem. In Egypt, 8 security personnel have been killed and 3 injured during the fighting with the terrorists at Sinai checkpoint. No group has claimed responsibility of the attack. In Sudan, opposition has rejected a plan by the country's military to hold the election within 9 months. A leader of the opposition Freedom and a Change Alliance, Madani Abbas Madani, in a statement said that a civilian disobedience campaign would continue to force the ruling Transitional Military Council to hand over the power of civilian-led interim government. Meanwhile, Sudanese military ruler has offered to resume a dialogue on a transitional to democracy 1 day after he scrapped all arrangement with the opposition alliance. Head of Sudan's ruling military council, Lieutenant General Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, has given this offer after the men of numbers killed when security forces stormed a protest camp in Khartoum on Monday. In Thailand, both houses of the parliament are meeting today for the first time since a 2014 COP to choose the next prime minister. The vote will officially restore the civilian rule after more than 5 years. In the ICC Cricket World Cup match at Southampton, South Africa have a victory target of 228 runs for India. And finally, the weather report. Mainly hot and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours, while very hot in eastern Balochistan and Sindh. However, dust thunderstorm rain is expected at isolated places in Malakand, Hazara, Kohar divisions, Gilgit-Baltistan, and Kashmir. Before we end the news, here once again the headlines. The nation is celebrating the Eid al-Fitr today with a religious zeal and fervor. Congratulating the nation on Eid al-Fitr, the Prime Minister has called for standing united to overcome the economic challenges. Army Chief says the voluntary cut in defense budget in the next financial year shall not impact our response to all types of threats. In occupied Kashmir, Indian troops resorted to use brute forces against the protester during the Eid prayers today. In Egypt, 8 security personnel have been killed in fighting with the terrorist in Sinai. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and log on to our website for video streaming of our bulletin on the link of facebook.com Radio Pakistan News Official.